Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online VGC 17 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. We're just continuing using the Scarf Milotic and Room Nihilego team that we've used for quite a while now. Like I mentioned in the previous episodes, I'm going to be in Indianapolis this upcoming weekend for the NA International Championships. I'm really excited to be competing again. I think it's been like 2 or 3 months since I last competed. I think my last tournament was actually a Oregon Regional, so it really has been like 3 months. As a result, yeah, I'm going to be using this team to make a couple of episodes this week, and then when I'm back, I'll probably switch to whatever team I do end up bringing to that tournament. We're going to get started with today's episode, though, with a really cool team. Gigalith, Stoutland, Salazzle, Milotic, kind of always funny to face against another Milotic, a Tapu Koko, and a Hariyama, so... a ton of different things here. I mean, I think the first thing that sticks out is the Gigalith and Stoutland combination that takes advantage of Stoutland's ability to increase its speed, and it just hits really hard. So, we're going to get into the first game of today's episode. As always, if you guys enjoy Road Train, please show support by leaving a like in the video. I'd really appreciate it. So, what do I want to lead with? Before, like, I'd be tempted to just go with Gyarados, but if I lead Gyarados into Milotic, that's really bad news for me. Huh. So... I mean, I could go with, like, Gigalith, my own Gigalith, and Kartana. That seems decent, because it's like, if my opponent does go with Stoutland and Gigalith, I can switch into Gyarados. And for the last one, Nihilego is actually kind of tempting here, because I... but the other thing is, my Kartana isn't slashed here. It does have the Fighting Z move, so that's also a concern. And for the last Pokemon... between Tapu Koko, I mean, you could actually make a case for all of them, to be honest. But I think I like Nihilego here because I do have the Focus Sash, and then the Sand will increase my special defense as well. I don't know, this matchup looks pretty tricky. Really cool team overall, like, a lot of Pokemon you don't see too often, Salazzle, Hariyama, Stoutland, and most of the times when you see Gigalith, it's often paired with Trick Room, either with, like, Porygon 2, you know, that's the most common one, sometimes Nihilego, and more obscure Trick Room users, but there's no potential Trick Room on my opponent's side. We see the Tapu Koko and the Hariyama lead from my opponent against my Gigalith and Kartana. This is not good at all, really. Yeah, the Hariyama is a major concern. I really was just expecting, like, Stoutland, Gigalith, and I'm in quite a pickle right now, to be honest. I could switch Kartana out into Gyarados and go for a knockout onto Tapu Koko with the Z move. Or just a Stone Edge, but I don't want to risk missing because that'd be really bad. I might honestly do that. Kartana could be eating a Thunderbolt. Could be really bad news for me. But, yeah, I put myself in quite a hole with this lead. I honestly, I'm not sure, like, what I could have led better. This seems like Tapu Koko would have been good, but I didn't even bring it in this matchup. So yeah, I'm going to switch out into Gyarados. Of course, my opponent could just fake out me, actually, and T-Bolt. Yeah. I mean, at least I get to switch into Nihilego. Like, I should have protected. But of course, Hariyama can feint as well, which is why there's so many mind games when you play against Hariyama. Let's see if we just see a fake out. There's the feint, actually, wow. So, and a Thunderbolt, yeah. Yeah, so... okay, I thought Gyarados hung on for a second there, and I was like, wait, what the heck? So, like, that's okay. You know, we train knockouts, but I think losing Gyarados is really bad for me, whereas losing Tapu Koko isn't nearly as bad for my opponent. But, with that being said, I suppose I could have switched out into Nihilego. But I was also fearing that Hariyama might just want to close combat me. So I was like, maybe I need the Intimidate. But you'd imagine if I went into Nihilego there last turn, I actually would have been in a pretty nice position. So we do trade knockouts, but like I mentioned, like I think I'd still prefer my opponent's position if I'm my opponent. But I guess I'll go back into... Oh, even this is tricky. I think I like Kartana a little bit more here. Yeah. I had Swords Dance on, as we actually see Stoutland come out. That's cool, but that's also terrifying because I'm gonna guess it has Fire Fang, and I'm pretty sure it can just Fire Fang Kartana to knock me out. So with that, I think I'm gonna Stone Edge the Stoutland, expecting Fire Fang, and switch Kartana out into Nihilego. Yeah, I just didn't lead well against Hariyama Tapu Koko. Like, that was a really bad combination. And yeah, like my team normally to beat Tapu Koko, like, I have the rock types, but with Hariyama, that's really bad. We actually do see Faint. Okay, so maybe that's Faint Fire Fang coming out, which would be really nice. Nice. Okay, at least this is a good turn for me for sure. I hope Stone Edge hits. And it's Life Orb too. Can it connect? Oh, it does connect. Ah, it doesn't pick up the knockout though. Okay. Okay, I mean, that's definitely a good turn for me. Can't really afford protecting out of fear. But does Stoutland have a way to one-shot now Eagle? I don't know if it gets a ground type attack. I would assume it does. If you do, you could just feint and attack now Eagle again. Yeah, I actually don't know the like, I'd assume return, protect, and then a fourth move, but I don't know what that fourth move would be. I think I'll just Rock Slide. And Sludge Bomb. And I want to knock out Stoutland because it threatens my Kartana more. Oh, it switches out. That's a great switch into Gigalith. Okay. Ah, that was a really good play. But I'm guessing that means, yeah, it shouldn't have a way to really beat my Now Ego then. We do just see Close Combat come out into Gigalith. Okay, I'll take that, because it means it will get the special defense and the defense drop. I missed the Rock Slide and Gigalith. That's rather unfortunate, but what can you do? Ooh, this is going to be a close finish. Sand is almost out? Yes, it will after... There are 2 turns, so this turn and next turn. My opponent hasn't Z-moved yet either. I could very easily just... I could double protect here. But, like, do I really want to double protect when my opponent's been fainting consistently, right? I think I would rather just Curse here. And Sludge Bomb the Hariyama, yeah. Okay, no Feint came out, so I could have double protected. The Sludge Bomb should knock out Hariyama after the special defense boost. Get a critical hit there. It could be Assault Vest Hariyama, but I think, I don't know, with the special defense drop, maybe it doesn't matter. We actually see a Heavy Slam come out, okay. So that should knock out Now Ego, but I'll get a free Curse off. And then, like, this is where if I hit the Rock Slide earlier, I could be in a better position, because then I think Gigalith would definitely be in KO range, whereas right now I'm actually not too sure about whether it's in KO range or not. But this is going to be a close finish. Yeah, it was a really great option to bring in the Gigalith earlier for my opponent, although that does give up the Sand, which is helpful for me, I suppose. So I think I will just double protect here to stall out the Sand. But I believe it is the last turn, yes. And I don't think Gigalith can knock out Kartana, and Kartana should just be able to outspeed Stoutland. So I'd imagine hopefully Kartana can 2v1 here, even if I lose Gigalith. Of course, there could be a Z move on my opponent's Gigalith as well, but a Z move shouldn't knock me out through Protect. We do just see a Fire Fang come out, okay. And there's a Z move, yeah. That makes the most sense. And it is the Rock Z move, not something like Tectonic Rage, so with the +1 boost, I don't think it can knock me out. So it's going to be a tight finish here, but it's not like 100% over for anyone yet. Of course, Stoutland can have Protect, but we do just see the Continental Crush, yep, go into my Gigalith. I'm pretty sure Kartana outspeeds Stoutland out of Sand, unless I'm misremembering my speed stats. Yeah, and the Sandstorm's gone now, so that works out perfectly for me, disappearing right when I needed to. And I'm just going to... I don't think Stone Edge knocks out Gigalith anyway, so I might as well just Rock Slide. Yeah, and I'll just Leaf Blade Stoutland. Yeah, okay, nice. So no Protect comes out from Stoutland. Even if it did Protect though, like one reason why Kartana is so good is because it matches up perfectly against Gigalith, like, especially with Heavy Slam and Stone Edge, like, it probably, yeah, you're gonna have Rock Slide or Earthquake, and either of those are gonna knock out Kartana any day. So, like, even if Stoutland gets, like, a double Protect off there, Gigalith's just forced to, you know, slowly chip away at my Kartana. So, with that, yeah, now I can just Protect, and there's actually even no need to. I'll just... yeah, I'll Curse to punish the Gigalith if it protects, I guess, but Leaf Blade will knock it out anyway. So, yeah, really intense game there, and I do end up with the win. But definitely really cool team from my opponent. I feel like this is a matchup where I maybe shouldn't have won. Like, yeah, fortunately I just switched out. Like, the feint didn't catch me off guard. And that was something I should have mentioned actually before I even made my moves. I was like thinking about it in the back of my head, but I didn't even talk about it. But feint's like really scary because every time you see Hariyama, you instantly think, oh, it's gonna fake me out. And then when you don't get faked out, you get feinted instead. That's really bad. Because, like, normally you think, you know, double protecting or just protecting is really safe, and when you combo attacks with really strong attacks with feint, you can just like chain knockouts really quickly. So instead of just blowing a free turn, you instead just lose a Pokemon, which can be really bad. But we'll just jump on and look for our second game of the day. But otherwise, yeah, that was really intense. I mean, I wasn't happy about my lead, but fortunately, like, trading Tapu Koko was actually pretty good. And then my opponent was in an awkward position where it was like, yeah, Stoutland can't actually do too much to Nihilego or Gigalith. So because of that, I think my opponent might have should have considered going for close combat onto my Nihilego instead of my Gigalith. I'm not sure whether that knocks out with the Intimidate, but I think it still might, just because of how strong Gigalith is, or sorry, Hariyama is. We're going to find a cure for our second opponent of the day using Drift Lele, one of my favorite combos. But with Gyarados, Buzzwole, Magnezone, and Snorlax. So a bunch of Pokemon you don't see. I shouldn't say you don't see as often. I mean, actually all of those are Pokemon like you should expect or are on Drift Lele teams. But there's no like Arcanine, for example, or Garchomp, which are typically common. But of course the Gyarados and the Magnezone were both on Shoma Honami's team, and he was one of the first players to really use Drift and Tapu Lele in this format. So what do I want to lead with? Nihilego is like really great against Drift Lele, as is Gigalith. So I think I'm actually just going to go with those two. Because if you lead Drift Lele, you get punished so hard. In the back, I'm definitely going to want Kartana here. And I think Tapu Koko for the last one, although giving up Intimidate seems kind of off. But Milotic, definitely not the right Pokemon to bring in this matchup, I think. It just doesn't do nearly enough damage, and there's a Magnezone, which is a threat. Gyarados, I think you could make a case for. You really could, but I don't feel as comfortable with it, so I'm not going to bring it. So, let's see. I think this matchup is okay, but, like, with these teams, it's always, like, the items and sets. I also wouldn't be... Like, if my opponent actually leads Drift from Lele, I think I'll be in a really good position, but I don't expect that to come out. However, I still think Nihilego Gigalith's pretty solid because I pressure offensively immensely against my opponent's team. We actually do see Drift from Tapu Lele. Okay, I'll take that. So, this is interesting. I can Trick Room, but I could get taunted by Tapu Lele. I could also just Sludge Bomb and Stone Edge, or Sludge Bomb Z move. I can just Sludge Bomb Tapu Lele and Z move. Like I said, part of me wants a Trick Room. I could also just like, you don't double up on Nihilego here though, do you? Like, it's so risky to just taunt me, but I can totally see my opponent going for it. I think I'm just gonna Trick Room. Do I want to Trick Room though? There's a Snorlax on my opponent's team. You know what? I'll just Sludge Bomb. And I'm gonna Stone Edge. I don't actually want a Z move because I want the fighting Z move. Oh wow, I'm actually gonna get a double up into. Am I special defense pickup? That actually could matter. Okay, I'm faster. Nice. Woo! That just knocks out. So if I don't miss Stone Edge, I mean that honestly might just be game. That's why I didn't want to Trick Room, because it was like if I do Trick Room, I might just get doubled up in two. And I do hit Stone Edge. Wow, that's such a... Okay. That's really, really good. That literally is perfect other than the special defense drop. And I think my opponent was probably just making a really hard read expecting me to Trick Room there, but I was like, I don't think I can risk it. And I should be faster with Nihilego still. Buzzwole and Snorlax coming in, that's really good to see overall. Especially with Tapu Koko in the back. Yeah, I'm just honestly going to Sludge Bomb the Buzzwole. And I'll protect. I actually want to protect you. No, I'll Rock Slide. Or Curse. I'll Curse. Yeah, I like cursing here. Because I have Tapu Koko and, yeah, Buzzwole doesn't even protect. At +1, I wonder if this knocks out Buzzwole. Wow, it almost does. Yeah, this game's over. Literally, I think like turn 1, like there's nothing you can do to come back from it. We actually saw the Poison Jab onto the Gigalith, probably expecting a switch out, but Basically, I curse here because I'm like, a Sludge Bomb might just knock out Buzzwole. If you use the Z move, like, as you see here, the poison will, it will just feign off the poison. So even if, like, the Buzzwole knocked me out here, I know I have the Tapu Koko and the Kartana, and that just beats the Snorlax and Buzzwole outright. So that's why I'm not worried about, like, I might as well just go for a move like Curse, because it's like, risk versus reward. Worst case, I lose out Gigalith. Best case, my opponent over-predicts, hoping for me to throw, and, you know, that doesn't happen. So yeah, this is one of the fastest games I think we've ever seen on Road to Ranked, but that doesn't mean we have time for a third game. Yeah, so I'm just gonna Sacred Sword. I mean, I could Z-move, but I guess I'll Z-move. Actually, I want to see if it can survive a Z-move, because I'm curious. But that's why, like, yeah, I really didn't expect Drifloon Tapu Lele as a lead. I was really happy to see it, because now Ego Gigalith matches up so darn nicely against that. But I think Timid Max Speed Tapu Lele might still outspeed my now Ego. But typically you're going to run Modest. And since I am Modest, Max Special Attack, and Max Speed with now Ego, I'm actually faster. So I assume, like, if it is the typical Modest Tapu Lele, I can just Sludge Bomb. With the Shadow Ball. Like, I was worried about Drifloon Tailwinding, but I was like, if you Tailwind, then you risk me going for a Trick Room. Because if you see now Ego Gigalith, you immediately assume Trick Room. So I just went for the Sludge Bomb. I think worst case, I was like, okay, Tapu Lele protects and Drifloon Tailwinds. If so, I still get the knockout. And then the next turn, you're forced to double up into my Tapu Lele. Otherwise, I'll get Trick Room up. In which I can either go for a Trick Room and then Z-move the Tapu Lele. But the thing I was concerned about was, of course, there was that, what was there in the back? Snorlax, yes. And if I do lose Gigalith, then facing Snorlax is kind of an issue. Although I guess I had Kartana as well, so I can match up decently against it. But yeah, we'll have time for a third game here, just because that one ended so quickly. But yeah, I think if anything, like, I was more worried of what my opponent would lead with. Like, Magnezone could be a concern, depending on its moveset, just because I can't do too much damage to it, other than Continental Crushing it, or maybe Stone Edging it, but it'll be faster. Buzzwole actually would have been kind of scary to go up against as a lead, although I suppose its special defense is low enough where it's like, no, Ego can just Sludge Bomb it. And yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. What else was there? Snorlax as a lead actually would have been really bad, yeah, now that I think about it. But I think that, like, the tricky thing about leading Snorlax is, like, since you know you're going to be slower, for example, my Gigalith could curse in front of it. And with Snorlax, I could also just easily switch out into Kartana, which can then set up a Swords Dance. Although I haven't really gotten a chance to use Swords Dance, Substitute might be better on this Kartana set. Yeah, I wanted to try out Swords Dance and, you know, Milotic with Scarf, but it hasn't panned out as much as I would have liked it to, but it's okay. But we're just going to look for our third opponent of the day. Hopefully we find somebody soon. Alright, we're going to find Quill from Massachusetts with a rating of 1489 for our last opponent of the day. But running a really cool team. This is actually the team that won Japanese Nationals this year. Definitely, you know, very interesting team with the... I don't even remember that Pokemon's name right now. Fancy Grass Pokemon. I believe it was like... I want to say AV Garchomp, Scarf Chomp, AV Metagross, Scarf Chomp. Yeah, so obviously it's Pelipper Golduck as well. It's actually a really scary composition to go up against. Tsareena, that's what it's called. Yeah, I actually really am scared of this matchup because, like, I could go the Trick Room route, but a Garchomp Metagross are such major issues. It's just like, does my opponent go with the Rain mode? I feel like you don't. Like, Garchomp, Tapu Koko would make a lot of sense. But if that's the case, I could go like Milotic. Could go Milotic now Ego. That actually, I think, makes sense overall, regardless of anything my opponent can lead with. Yeah. Garchomp Metagross are both such big issues for me. I feel like I need Gyarados. And I want Gigalith for weather control. So I guess I'm kind of forced to bring it. But it feels odd keeping Tapu Koko and Kartana on the bench here. Both are really darn good. But the thing is, without a Focus Sash on Kartana, most of the thing on my Pokemon on my opponent's team, like Tapu Koko, I believe the Tsareena was fighting move as well, specifically to give Kartana some issues. So we'll see. Like, I actually really don't like the matchup here, and this team won Japanese Nationals for a reason. I'm gonna try. This is not a lead I really ever go with, I think. But gonna try it out here. We see Pelipper and Tsareena. Okay. So I could just Trick Room here, you know? Like, he'll probably Drop Kick me. I could honestly just, like, Ice Beam. I don't think that knocks out. I mean, I could also double up into Pelipper. I think I really do want... do I need a Trick Room? Like, Gigalith's nice. I guess I have Garchomp for Intimidate. But then Metagross becomes a problem because I probably lose the Milotic here. So I could switch it into Gyarados. Or even Gigalith, but I really don't want to switch into Gigalith. So I think I will just Ice Beam. And I'm actually going to Trick Room, yeah. Because there's a Tapu Koko in the back too. We do just see the Drop Kick come out. And that's faster, whoa. But it activates competitive. So that's Scarfed, right? I'm pretty sure. It could be, unless it has a weird... Like, its ability prevents priority, right? That's what I thought. And we see Tailwind. Oh, that's wonderful. That was, like, actually a perfect turn 1 then. Maybe other than knocking out Tsareena, because I actually would prefer for it to stay in, so I get a free turn to knock it out. Because now my opponent gets a free switch in, and I think Metagross may be coming in. If my opponent brought Metagross. Which you'd imagine is in the back. If there's no Metagross, then I feel really good about my chances of just winning this outright. But Metagross causes me so many issues where it's like I really need to play around my my Gyarados. But we see Golduck. Wow, that's so good for me. Yeah. With that, I'm going to Ice Beam, Pelipper, and Power Gem it. Yeah. I really feel like you should bring Metagross against my team. So the fact that Golduck came out probably indicates to me that Tapu Koko is the last one. Pelipper could protect here, but it's like, then you either bring me down to my Focus Sash or you knock out my Milotic and I get a free switch into Gigalith. The reason why I don't just want to switch into Gigalith is because I don't want to get Z-moved and like Gigalith just faint right away, just because Gigalith would be so nice to get a free switch into. And I don't want to risk getting knocked out and losing Gigalith. And we don't see it protect on Pelipper, which is perfect. So because of the Tailwind, I'm pretty sure I should just get the Ice Beam off against it as well and just pick up another knockout. Let's see. Oh, no, I don't actually. Pelipper is still slower under Tailwind. That's interesting. Okay. No worries. We do just see a Z move come out. Yep, that's fine. So what that means is now I can bring in Gigalith. Just Rock Slide Power Gem. Yeah. Although that is frustrating because, like, it's like, yeah, I really could have switched to my Milotic. I didn't think Pelipper would be faster, even under Tailwind. So I could have switched out into Gigalith, which also would have knocked out the Pelipper. And then I would have conserved my Milotic as well. So maybe a slight misplay. Like, I just really didn't want my opponent to double up into the slot of my Milotic. But now I'll be able to bring in Gigalith. Yeah, so I can just Power Gem and... Alright, Rock Slide. I think if you're my opponent, you probably switch the Pelipper out, so the question is who's really in the back. I still have 3 turns of Trick Room though, so like things are looking okay. So I think I will just Rock Slide. And... Sludge Bomb. Golduck, yeah. I think Golduck here probably protects and Pelipper switches out. And if Metagross is in the back... No, there's no Metagross. Actually, Garchomp is still a concern as well. And Golduck does protect, yeah. That's the best possible play for sure. But we know there's no Z move now, and next turn I think Golduck definitely switches out into Pelipper. Yeah. I should have doubled up into the Pelipper slot though. Yeah, I haven't played too well the last 2 turns. Like, I should have just switched out my Milotic, I guess, but I didn't want to play overly risky. But now that might come to haunt me a little bit. 2 turns of Trick Room. You definitely switch Golduck out right now into Pelipper. Yeah, so I'm going to contain Weather Control by switching out Gigalith, get the Intimidate off, and get a free Sludge Bomb to knock out the presumed, Pelipper that's coming in. And if Pelipper doesn't come in, then that's fine. I still get the Intimidate off and this free Sludge Bomb against Golduck. But I want weather control because I don't want Golduck under rain. That's the main issue. Oh, it actually doesn't switch out. Interesting. Actually Hydro Pumps and Earthquakes himself? I mean, I guess my opponent does have weather control now, though. Very interesting. Earthquaking yourself is also interesting. Like, why knock yourself out instead of knocking out Nihilego? And it's Life Orb Garchomp. Okay. So that was actually kind of scary if my opponent didn't knock, or if my opponent didn't Earthquake knock out the Golduck, because then I'm forced, and knocks out the Nihilego. Like, I thought you definitely switch into Pelipper there. But nice play to conserve the weather. So that's actually kind of scary now. But with the initial, like with that Intimidate, that's why I'm not too concerned. Let's see. Yeah, so the issue is now I lose weather control, and it's the last turn in Trick Room. But this is where I can Dragon Dance, which I actually am gonna do. Yeah, so I'm in a position where, actually, wait, no, what am I saying? Why don't I just Ice Fang Garchomp and Z-move to guarantee the knockout through Protect? Yeah, that makes so much more sense. So, yeah, I thought Pelipper would come in, I'd get the knockout, and then the Golduck comes back out. We actually don't see a Protect from anything, so that'll just be game. But I think, like, the game kind of slipped away from me. I should have had it definitely won after I realized, like, Golduck came in, and I set up Trick Room against Tailwind, and I kind of was throwing it a little bit, where... like, the Garchomp switch in there was relatively obvious. You'd imagine the last one. Like, I forgot Garchomp was actually on the team, which was just a mishap on my end. And, I mean, I guess I was covering my options there, but still kind of scary, especially, like, I'm not sure I agree with the Earthquake to knock yourself out play there last turn. But Ice Fang here should just knock out Garchomp, yes it does, yeah. And since I got the initial Intimidate off, that was relatively safe. Like, even if Pelipper protects, like, I just get the knockout. Even if I miss Ice Fang on Garchomp, I guess, like, because it's intimidated, maybe it goes for a Rock Slide, but... I guess maybe 2 Rock Slides could knock me out. I'm not sure if it does through Intimidate, though. So, yeah, I feel like if Metagross came out here, I would have been really screwed. And I think maybe you don't want to bring Metagross when you see, oh, there's like a Tapu Koko that's really fast and outspeeds me. There's a Cortana, I can't do too much against it. But it really felt like Metagross would have been really good against my team. And the Scarf Tsareena, like, I didn't expect that. The Trop Kick, decreasing my attack to activate competitive, that was kind of funny as well. So lots of surprises there, and if my opponent like doubled up onto the Nihilego, for example, in the first turn with Drop Kick and Scald and just knocked me out, that could have been really bad because then I don't have speed control. And to be honest, I actually probably just lose from there. So yeah, that game was not a good matchup, honestly. But with those, you just have to hope that your opponent, or that you can like play a little bit better than your opponent, or maybe your opponent misplays a little bit. And it did work out, fortunately. Of course, I got a little bit lucky as well. And then a combination of... I think, yeah, my opponent definitely had a bunch of outs there that game, too. And that team is terrifying overall. Like I mentioned, it did win Japanese Nationals for a reason. But yeah, that's going to conclude it for this episode, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching. As always, leave a like if you did, and I'll catch you guys next time. Alright, peace.